Luke, my man, first of all, we appreciate you coming on. We are honored to have you. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm just excited to be here.
Man, we're so excited to have you and we appreciate it. So, first question off top, I got to know as we're looking you up, we're doing our research for the show. We like to know things. I see your last name is Savage and your number's not 21. Tell us why.
I mean, I've tried since my freshman year to get the number 21. I put in as soon as the year was over, and it's actually my roommate that has 21. And I've got everyone on the team to try and peer pressure him into giving it to me. I've offered money, I've offered food, I've offered everything, and he still said no.
So
Who's your roommate?
Garrett Wright.
exactly.
Everybody find him on Instagram immediately.
Right now,
Please,
we're
everybody
gonna
find him,
blow
DM
him
him.
up.
I need as
Oh.
many as I can get.
Yeah,
I got a
man.
question though about this number. At what point in your career, because obviously 21 isn't probably the go-to number, but at some point you realize, oh man, like that would be pretty dope to have 21 and with my last name Savage. And then
Mhm.
more than anything, you get to see it flash all together on the back of the jersey. So at what point do you go, man, I really want 21? Is it in college or was it prior to that?
So it's actually LaDainian Tomlinson was my favorite football player growing up. And so I had like every single one of his jerseys. So it started there. And then like obviously 21 Savage blew up and I had the last name. And then like it really started to like come about when NIL stuff would come in and people would be like, man, I want your jersey. Like people would come up to me in class and be like, waiting on that Savage jersey. But if it was 21, like I'd go for it, no doubt. And that was when it was like, all right, I really got to try and push for this. So far it hasn't come to fruition, but
We're gonna do what we look in off the bench. We got me and Jim have a pretty decent, Twitter following. So we're gonna put some pressure on Garrett Wright. You know what I mean? We're coming
please,
after him.
he's Twitter active, so he'll see it.
Oh man, we're Jim. We have a mission now to get everybody involved. We're talking all SEC, Big 12. I don't care where you play. I don't care what you do. We got to get my boy Luke
Plus, we'll have
Savage in
spitting
21.
seeds. We'll have spitting seeds because that's it. That's
Oh,
their
yeah.
boy. They'll be with us. Don't put the pressure.
All right,
And
so
he'll love it. Garrett will love it. So please
so
do.
LT, man, that's a pretty decent football player. We're gonna get into all that. I mean, but when you're growing up, like the nicknames come up. I mean, was it like Macho Man? What's your favorite thing they called you with the last name Savage?
I mean, it's gonna sound cliche, but it's just simple, just Savage. Like everybody called me Savage. My teachers would call me Savage. Coaches would call me Savage. Like I couldn't tell you the last time I've been called Luke. And so just straight Savage was the go to, and that was my favorite.
I like to be called that, and that's my last name is Jower. So I mean,
Well,
I feel
Randy,
like-
if he was younger though, because Daniel, I believe Daniel's favorite wrestler all time was Macho Man Randy Savage. If he would have grown
Yep.
up in a different generation, that probably would have been it.
I mean, there's a lot of famous savages out there, and Luke, you're the most famous one I've ever met. So thank you for that.
oh man, let's move on from that. Look, we're gonna start you out with some softball. Let's break into it. Name your favorite movie of all time.
So I'm gonna give two, but one of them, so Avengers Endgame, because I just feel like I grew up watching Marvel the whole time.
Absolutely.
And then I recently watched one that is called Machine Gun Preacher, and I was up there. I was surprised, but it was very good.
I like it. So obviously, you're a baseball guy. You pitch a little bit. If you had to name a favorite baseball movie, what is it?
Oh boy, I feel like there's added pressure with this one. I would probably have to just go Rookie of the Year.
Can't go
Solid.
wrong. You can't go wrong there. I think a lot of people would pick Moneyball. The trouble with there's just so many you
Yep.
could throw out there. Field of Dreams.
There's so many great ones. Yeah.
There is, but you cannot go wrong with Rookie of the Year. You can't.
Well, Randy, we talk about the Twitter thing. It came up the other day. Me and Daniel had fun with it because there was a question that was asked, "Who was the greatest Henry?" And of course, we said Rowan Gardner all day.
Yep.
That's no
Oh,
doubt.
absolutely.
Certainly not Derek. Anyway, so you're down there. You're down there in Texas, obviously, but like favorite musician or band?
So
If it's not 21 Savage, we're cutting this thing.
Yeah, we're
No,
done.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
It's,
kidding.
it's Morgan
break it to
Wallen.
you.
It's
Here we go.
it's Luke Combs Savage.
yeah.
Gotta
It's
be.
not. I like a small band. They're called Need to Breathe. It's like Southern rock. It's like Kings of Leon type. So that's my favorite band.
Okay, well, I can honestly tell you, Luke, you were the first person that's ever said that on the show, but I dig it. Now I'm going to go on Apple Music as soon as we get off this show, and I'm going to check them out. And if they suck, I'll be in your DMs, and I won't be going at Garrett for your 20. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Man. I'll check them out.
But at least he didn't say Luke Combs or Morgan Wallen for real, man.
Everybody
it's been a while.
Everybody has been saying Morgan Wallen or Luke Combs, and that's pretty much the top two.
Hey, actually, you know what, Randy? You didn't stick around long enough for us to actually look into the Paul Skeens' favorite band. Bro, hey, I hope Paul don't listen to this. Me and Daniel were having a tough time going through.
I don't even remember what he
Paul's
said.
I got to know what Paul's was.
Daniel, do you still got the notes? Or did you throw it away?
It was like Flatland something, and it was.
Oh, was it Flatland Calvary?
Yes,
Yeah.
and they're terrible.
Oh no, Luke loves it. I can see it right now. He's like, I kind of dig them, guys.
No, my roommate, that's his favorite band. He went for like backstage ticket. Not Garrett, different roommate.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Need to breathe. We got a little Need to Breathe coming at you, featuring Gavin DeGraw.
Right.
Oh man, let's just take this in for a second. No.
Well, the next question was going to be favorite athlete, but I think you answered that question with LT. But so any other athlete growing up besides LT, who is it?
Odell Beckham. Controversial, but he was I went and saw him play when TCU played LSU in like 13, or it was a long time ago. And then I kind of just like, I don't know, I played receiver growing up, and so that was kind of where it all started. And then obviously the catch, and it was like, who doesn't want to do that? So
let me ask you a question, Luke Savage. Do you think that the gloves that they wear now really lend themselves to making those one-handed catches? Because we see it. It's like Devontae made one yesterday. I mean, it was incomplete, by the way. But I mean, I put some on, and I feel like I could catch anything.
I agree. I mean, my brother is in 8th grade, and he brings me the gloves that they use, and I'm like, you could just not even squeeze, and it's just gonna stick right to it.
Yeah, they always got on to the older guys for wearing stickums, and I swear I think that these gloves are stickier than the stickums.
I agree, and they just keep getting stickier.
The problem was, Randy, I could catch the ball. I just wasn't fast. So until they figure out how to make me faster, that's an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think I could definitely like play tight end, but not like actually run. Like not Kelsey tight end, but like maybe like another tight end that just stands there.
Like
you know?
Jason Witten type tight end, catch and drop.
You just named my favorite tight end of all time. So that's a pretty good one. But yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, back in college, my boy was at Tennessee doing his thing. He could run back then, but you take enough hits to the knees, Luke, and you don't run no more.
Oh, I don't blame him. I'm getting down for sure.
Absolutely. So favorite team growing up of any sport. Doesn't have to be baseball, football, any professional, whatever it is. Favorite team.
Phillies, for sure.
Phillies. How did you become a Phillies fan, Luke?
How?
So I was born in Philadelphia, and then we were there when they won the World Series, and they had that stretch of like Roy Halladay, Jimmy Rollins, like Ryan Howard. So that was my team growing up. And then it was a tough stretch for like 10 years of just hoping to make the playoffs till this year, and then obviously the run. But
yeah, y'all put the Cardinals out of the playoffs. That was pretty sad. But
yeah.
Anyways,
is that when they had Jason Worth and
wasn't Chase Utley on that team?
Worth.
Chase?
Yeah.
Chase Utley. I mean, now that you mention it, that's a pretty stacked team.
That was the team that lost to the Yankees, right, in the World Series.
Yeah,
that team, both teams were stupid stacked. I think that was the last Yankees World Series, unless I'm misremembering.
Is that a Halladay Phillies team and a Cole what's his face Phillies team?
Cole Hamels, Cliff Lee.
Oh man, God, that's good.
That's
real good.
That team had it all. They had arms, they had bats, they had defense. I mean, that team had it all. Absolutely. Yep. All right. One more question before I turn you over to DB. Who wins the Super Bowl between the Eagles and the Chiefs?
I don't know. So I'm a Phillies fan, born in Philadelphia, but I'm not an Eagles fan. So I don't have any ties. But I think I'm gonna go with the Eagles. They're just too talented to go against, I think.
Yeah. So I understand why people are saying that. And I think that the story of Jalen Hurts, if you're looking for a role model for your kid to be, Jalen Hurts is that guy. You're talking about a guy that went in, got benched in the national championship game, kept his head up, transferred, wins the Heisman, goes on, has this incredible success. Now he's led his team to the Super Bowl, just a winner. And he does it with class and dignity and all that. I say all that to say this, Luke. I'm going with Killer Trav because I want the guy that comes in after the game. Didn't say a word all week long. Comes in after, tells him to shut your mouth and know your role.
Shut your mouth.
That's exactly why.
That's right.
And that's exactly why I'm going with the Eagles, because he started popping off. His stat line sucked. He hadn't done nothing in the 4 games he's played against Joey B. And guess what, Randy? I'm blowing the whistle segment. I'm blowing the whistle during a Luke Savage interview. Dude, I went and watched there's 20 missed calls in that game. The NFL got what they wanted. I just want you to know that, Randy.
Well, we're moving on. So, Daniel, we're not even going to talk about that because that's ridiculous.
Daniel I want to know who Daniel would pick because he's a Cowboys fan, so I don't think
the Chiefs. I'm not going to let Eagles blowout of a terrible 49er pathetic performance, and they weren't even the real 49er team.
Definitely not.
That's what always happens. The Cowboys will play a team and get their best, and then they'll turn around Aaron Rodgers and play like garbage.
Let me ask, since we got a picture on, how fascinated were you with the fact that, I mean, you don't hear about UCL injuries in football, right? That was what was wild. And so when you think about it as a pitcher and you saw that he couldn't throw the football, it all made sense, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, because we were having practice during the game, but we would like come in between innings and we would just check in on it. And as soon as we saw Purdy was out, we were like, do you think that that's UCL? Because like it's never happened before. And then the news came out today, obviously, that he's out 6 months. So that's crazy. But it makes sense how he couldn't come in the game. Yeah,
he couldn't throw the ball. Before we get to I think we know who Jim's going to pick, but I think that here's what got it for me, Luke, is that the whole time that all we've heard about, and this is no disrespect to Joe Burrow, he's amazing, but everybody just like sleeps on Patrick Mahomes, and the dude's been to 5 straight AFC championships. Got it. Now is his 3rd Super Bowl in 5 years. I think we just forget greatness when we see it so much. I think it happens all the time in sports, right? But to me, we saw that Patrick Mahomes was at probably 60%, really couldn't move, and he still just did so many things. Even as an athlete, do you sometimes watch a guy like that and you're like, how did he do that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, all the time. And going from the game where it's like you clearly see his ankle is messed up, and it looks nasty on film, and you're like, how is he even going to play? And then he goes out at 50 to 60%. And has like a super high QBR, 300 some yards, no interceptions, and leads them to victory. Pretty much like single-handed. So it's crazy to see that type of stuff.
Agreed.
That's how you know that you're seeing greatness, because that guy at 50 or 60% is better than 95% of the league.
Yep.
That dart he threw, I texted you and Randy when he threw that one. Oh my goodness, I was like, that's unreal.
You know what was crazy about that, Jim? When you did say that, what was really blowing my mind was the receiver didn't even know he had the ball for the first like half a second. It's like he was sandwiched and he's like, oh snap.
The ball man, because it looked like the DB was going to get there, right?
It did.
Man. Well, Luke, man, let's get into this, man. Let's take me back. Let's talk about your hometown a little bit. Tell us a little bit about where you're from.
Yeah, so I think of myself as a native Texan. I know I was born in Philly, but I moved like 6 times and then pretty much settled in Texas in like 4th grade around there. And so
I'm gonna have to stop you, Luke. You ain't from Texas if you don't like the Cowboys. So get out of here with that. I'm from Texas. Jump. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Everybody is entitled to like who they like. But so Texas, is everything bigger in Texas?
It is. I still remember coming. So like when I moved here in 4th grade, I thought all people do is ride horses and listen to country music. And then you fly into DFW and it's like a huge city. And everything really is bigger. The food's bigger. The home runs are bigger. It's all bigger.
Everything. So a little bit about your family. Obviously you got some siblings, just you, mom, dad, brother, sister. What's it look like in the house?
Yeah, no, exactly that. So mom, dad, brother, sister, they're both younger. So I'm the oldest. My sister is a freshman at Texas Tech. And then my brother's in 8th grade, plays football, basketball, baseball, trying to get him to be a pitcher, but I think football and basketball are his first love. So we'll see.
What is that like being the oldest? Is there pressure that comes with that? I mean, especially like you're an elite athlete playing at elite, caliber school. Is there pressure, or you just try to do the best you can, be a role model and guide along the way?
I think, yeah, you're just trying to do your best and guide him in any way that you can. I think the pressure is just kind of, I mean, it's there, but if you pay attention to it, it'll get the best of you. So really just trying to do the best I can and be the best brother I can for him.
How fun is it that your sister goes to Texas Tech and you go to TCU?
So my whole family is a Tech family. I'm the first one, like, from my grandparents to not go to Tech. So like my parents both went to Tech. My aunt and uncles went to Tech. My whole family is pretty much in Lubbock. And then I was the one that was like, I'm actually going to go to TCU. And then my sister is obviously at Tech now too. So it's definitely divided. And my dad roots for Tech every weekend. Obviously not when we're playing them, but he roots for Tech in football every year. Big Mahomes guy. So yeah, no, we were a huge Tech family before I committed to TCU.
You realize that you're not in the family group text, right? No, man. Obviously baseball, you're awesome. You're amazing. But, we talk to athletes all the time and we find out like baseball wasn't their only sport and it really wasn't their first true love. So, the question's kind of got to be thrown to you now. Is baseball your only sport? If not, what were the other sports that you played?
Yeah, so I played football, basketball, baseball growing up, and then really settled on football and baseball. And honestly, like up until probably like my freshman, sophomore year of high school, I thought I was going to go D1 for football. I mean, my first love was being a receiver. I love football. And like growing up, I thought I'm going to be the next Bo Jackson. That was the goal, was like, I'm going to play both and whatever. And then you quickly realize that not everyone is Bo Jackson and you can't do that.
Turns out nobody
yeah,
is.
I mean,
Bo.
football was. Yeah, it turns out it's just
Bo
him,
and Dion.
But
yeah, I mean, it's a pretty small percentage of people that can do it both well. But obviously, growing up, the dream, like you got big dreams, you got big ambitions. Why not? But at what point? I mean, was it high school where you go, I got to settle in on one of these, or was it earlier than that?
I mean, so I thought I was going to play both throughout high school. And then it was like pretty much around my sophomore year, I had like a big tick in velo. And that's when school started looking at me. And so in football, we actually, like, around that same time, we won the state championship. And then like a month later, I committed to TCU. And so I thought, why not now hang it up? I'm on a high note. I can put all of my effort into baseball because that's what I'm going to be doing with my future. And so that's kind of just how it played out.
Man, Luke Savage could give advice, Daniel, to Tom Brady about going out on a high note, bro.
I mean, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Oh, man. Luke, so you start realizing in high school, what high school did you go to?
I went to Prestonwood in Plano.
All right. So tell me about Prestonwood. Is it what I would picture in Friday Night Lights? Like you're going out on the field and it's like a stadium atmosphere with like 20,000 people and it's raucous and that's the town shut down.
No, I mean, so we were on the smaller end. I mean, we played like a lot of really good schools. Like my freshman, sophomore year, we played against Jalen Waddle, and he was like the best athlete I've ever seen in my life, scoring like 5 touchdowns against us in triple coverage. I mean, it was insane. But it wasn't like, the Allen, the big schools where it's 18,000 people are coming out in some huge stadium. But we had a decent turnout and the fans were great, but it was nothing like the TV shows.
Yeah, it's hard to say, like, if you've never been there, if the TV shows are really sensationalizing it or if that's actually what it is. I think there's probably a little bit of both. I've never seen anything like in Texas, but I know in Georgia, Atlanta, like I've seen some of the stadiums there, and it's kind of similar.
Hold on, did you guys? So you're telling me that they never said "Clear eyes, full heart, can't lose"?
Oh no, that song played before every one of our games.
Okay, all right. I didn't want that to ruin my life, Luke. Thank you.
So it's funny, Daniel. He was talking about how small. I bet it was still larger than ours, right? Like that. That's what I'm still picturing.
Oh, yeah. Football and no. I've
How
only been
many-
to two
What
Texas
did,
football
what did,
games.
what did Bolton hold, Daniel? Do you happen to know?
The
I know. I can
stadium?
tell you exactly what it holds. It holds
What's it hold?
800.
That's all we had. Damn.
I mean, and it was sold out every game, Luke. Let me tell you.
Even if we were going to lose
That's
every
awesome.
week, they were there.
And when they
Yeah.
say lose,
That's
they,
all that matters. Diehard
they-
fan base.
like real lose.
I mean, like
Look,
44-6.
Look. Hey,
That
I'll
kind
tell
of-
you this. I threw the best parties on Friday nights, and people always talk about, man, y'all throw epic parties on Friday. And they say, why? But like, because we know we're going to lose the football game, so we might as well do something fun along the way because football wasn't ever
I
going to go
mean-
well.
Exactly. You might as well.
Man, it's you're bringing back some sad memories, man. I tried really hard. I played my ass off. to lose the
Luckily,
game,
Luke,
so-
hey, I only played football. This guy over here, he's sitting there talking about sad memories. He was a dominant pitcher for our baseball team, which was really good. So don't let him make you feel bad.
Okay.
I was just a straight loser. He got to win some.
Yeah, that was the saving grace of my high school athletic career. But I don't want to talk about me. This is about you. But before we jump into some of these accolades on the diamond, dude, I want to stop for a second and kind of talk about, obviously you've got this thing. It's charity, and I call it a thing because I probably can't give it justice on what Blessed Feet is. So I want you to tell us a little bit about what that is, but also like you're taking mission trips to the Dominican Republic. You're doing big things with this charity organization. How did it come to be, and what exactly is it, and how amazing is it to be able to be a part of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been incredible. And I'll kind of just go with where it started. So in high school through Prestonwood, a week before spring break, we would be able to go on mission trips. And so we were able to go with our high school baseball team, and we ended up going to the Dominican Republic twice. And that was just like, I mean, culture shock, eye-opening. Like you hear stories about how like life-changing it is to go, but then you're there for the first time and just meeting all these people and like seeing the conditions that they live in, but then also just like the joy that they have and how much they love baseball. I mean, it's crazy. Like kids are out there playing for 8 hours a day, and baseball is literally all that they have, just out there working all day. And like when I say they wake up throwing 90, sometimes I think it's true. They just walk out in flip-flops and throw 90. Like there's a guy that threw 90 with both arms, and it was crazy. But I mean, these kids just kind of being there the first and the second time, it was just like super eye-opening. And then when we got back from the second trip, I'd become like super close with like a mentor down there. He coaches and runs like a youth organization. And that was right when COVID hit. So everything kind of shut down. Nobody had anything to do. And so I would just be like calling him, texting him, being like, is there anything we can do for y'all? And he was like, I mean, you were down here. We could use shoes. We could use gear. I mean, the kids out here, they're tearing through these shoes if they even have them at all. And so I knew just from like being in North Texas and, our feet grow like crazy. It's like you're growing out every 3 months of new shoes, and they're in great condition. And I was like, I bet I have 6 pairs in my garage right now that would be in perfect shape. And so that's kind of where the idea started. And then over like the next 2 years or so, it kind of like blossomed into Blessed Feet now, which we collect shoes. We collect shoes, gear, financial donations, and all of it goes back into getting shoes, cleats, and gear into kids that need it the most. And so we've taken like 500 pairs of shoes and cleats to the Dominican, and then we hope to give them away locally in DFW, and then hopefully internationally to where it's just an annual thing and we can go all the time.
What kind of message does that, or are you able to relay? Because obviously you see it firsthand and you can relay it in your words and your interpretation to your teammates, but how humbling and how appreciative does it make you when you walk into that TCU locker room and your jerseys are pressed and they're nice and neat and you got the best of the best gear like right there at your disposal, man? That's got to be humbling, right?
Absolutely. I think it's hard to put into words just the perspective that you get from being down there and seeing the joy that these kids have with almost like nothing. Like they would be in shock to see what we have here. And so just to be able to see that, I think puts a humbling perspective on everything that you do. And I mean, doing baseball, it's a grind. like obviously we love it, but it's hard practices, all that sort of thing, school. But just being there, it gives you a whole new perspective of like, man, I'm really getting to live my dream out of being to do baseball in some of the nicest facilities with amazing people and amazing gear. And so kind of, I mean, yeah, it's just it's hard to put into words, but it's super eye opening.
I'll tell you, Luke, because I've seen it myself. When I was 17, I went on a mission trip to Brazil, and I was watching kids absolutely dominate playing soccer on a dirt field with no shoes on. And all I could think was, imagine if you gave them some grass and some cleats. Oh my God. Because they were nasty without it. And it was like,
oh yeah,
but they didn't have it. They just didn't have it. That's why we were down there.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
y'all don't know this, but that guy that was throwing 90 from the left and the right that Luke was talking about, he's enrolling next year at TCU. So just know that.
Now we know
that
what
would
he's
be
really
awesome.
doing down there.
Yeah.
Recruiting.
So
That
man,
would be awesome.
I gotta ask, man, because you got the humanitarian side, you got the hair flow, you got the beard, you got the mustache. I mean, you're all academic, all state in Texas in high school. I mean, you're elite level. Like, what's going on down there in Texas? Like, are they like, are you a machine? Like, are you a robot? Like, like, I gotta know. Like, it's okay. Like, we can edit this out. You can just tell us. We'll edit it out, or we'll just keep it between us. But for real, dude.
As long as it gets cut, then yeah. No, I'm just kidding. No.
I mean,
Man.
you created in a lab. Let's call it what it was.
Yeah, I mean, something. Explain it to me. But obviously, we're talking, not just academics and the humanitarian. You got the baseball to go with it. You were team MVP. You were Dallas Morning News stat leader for ERA, wins, strikeouts, RBI, home runs, stolen bases as a junior. As a senior, you were hitting 467 and a home run and 19 RBIs at the time, like COVID came through and shut things down. So let's talk about it for a second. What, reflecting back on it, what was your favorite season and what was your favorite moment in high school?
Ooh, I mean, I feel like there's so many. I would have to say, I mean, my favorite season was junior. I feel like it would be senior year if it wasn't for COVID, but we didn't get to finish it off. But I mean, junior season, I was getting to play with my best friends, and it's hard to beat when you're going out every day playing with your best friends, and you have a great team around you. So I feel like that's just it's hard to beat that.
I don't know if we've talked to anybody yet. I mean, maybe we have, but it's been a minute. That had their high school season during COVID. So when that's ripped away from you, like what is that feeling? I mean, was it relief? Oh man, finally get a little break, or is it like that's kind of like an immature attitude? But I'm trying to put myself in a high school perspective. Like obviously you might have already known where you were going to school at this time. So what does that feeling do for you when they say, all right, we're calling it for this season?
I feel like, I mean, it was really hard for us because so we had pretty much like all of my best friends had grown up and we had all been on varsity pretty much since our freshman year. And we had never gotten to like go through the playoffs. We had pretty much lost first round every year. And so senior year, we were like, this is our year. We've got all the guys, we've got all the talent. And then we're having a really good year. And then out of nowhere, COVID hits. And so, I mean, it didn't really feel real because we were all like, it's going to be like 2-week break and then we're going to come back. And then it was like, all right, it'll be a month break and then we'll come back. And then eventually it was like, shoot, like this is over. We're not going to be able to finish out the year. And so I feel like it was just kind of like a shock of like, it felt like we were going to come back and play, but then like it never really happened. And I don't think it sunk in really until we all headed off to college.
I mean, at that point, you're walking across the stage grabbing a diploma, and it's like, well, what now?
Exactly. Yeah.
Daniel, I'll tell you, we were talking about at church this past Sunday. Randy will know exactly what I'm talking about. When you talk about a senior year being cut off, and you said we haven't got to talk to anybody, but we got Cade Smith on deck here soon. That team had DeSoto Central had Kyle Booker at Tennessee, had Cade Smith, had Blaze Jordan, who got drafted in the 3rd round by the Red Sox. And then Bradley Lofton and Sidney Tapper, Brock Tapper, who are also Mississippi State, along with a bunch of star JUCO guys. that team was locked and loaded to win a championship. And the reason I bring it up, Luke, we've had a lot of those guys on, and one of the bragging rights that these DeSoto Central guys, even the guys will brag to Austin Riley about how they have 2 rings versus his 1. Of course, now he's got a World Series trophy. But
yeah, now he's got one.
But those guys who got cut short by COVID, there was a squad of them that would have been able to probably say they had 3 and would have had all the bragging rights. And COVID took it away. They were 12-0, rolling, they were ready, and then it was just gone.
Yep.
Oh,
Just like that.
Yep. So you played travel and summer ball with DBAT and the Dallas Tigers. Was at what point during your travel ball do colleges? I mean, obviously you said you committed early, but at what point do colleges start talking to you or putting you on a radar where you're going, oh man, like this is something big right here?
Yeah, so I mean, freshman year, so one of my roommates, he committed like our freshman summer, and I was in the same team as him. And at that point, I was probably throwing like maybe touching 80 miles an hour, and he was probably hitting like 92. And I was like, wow, this kid's really good. I don't think I'm ever going to be like this. And then kind of like over that next few months, I started to increase in velo till I was like hitting 90 and probably like sitting upper 80s. And that was kind of when school started to look at me, and they were like, all right, this kid, he's got a loose arm, whatever, all the projectable stuff. And so I kind of started talking to schools then.
So what were the top schools?
So I was looking TCU, obviously, and then I was looking at Stanford and Northwestern were the other 2 top schools.
Texas Tech wasn't even on the list.
Not even top 3.
Not even top 3.
Not on the list. No.
All right. So obviously, you end up at TCU. So what was it that ultimately, made the decision for you where you're like, man, this is where I'm going. This is what feels right.
Yeah. I mean, it's close to where I'm from, which is great. So I can see my family. They can come and see a lot of my games, which is awesome. I mean, I love the school. I was looking for a smaller school anyways. Love the school. And then it was really just like the coaching staff and kind of seeing what they were about and how it's really like it's a family here, whether you're playing baseball or whether it's you're an alumni, like whatever it is, it's so tight here. So I think that was the big selling point about, historically great baseball program. They had just come off like 4 Omaha runs. And so that plays a key role. But then just seeing the way that they treat the guys off of the field was super cool and big selling point.
That seems to be, a continued trend that we get, guys. Like, obviously when you're picking amongst programs that are all winning programs, it's about what's that X factor. And it always seems to be about that coaching staff and that family feel. So that just can't be undervalued, because obviously that spoke to you, that spoke to a lot of our guests when they feel like, hey, when I come here, it feels like home. So that's really cool. And then that's why you chose them. And so with that, when you get there, what were the emotions like? Sometimes people are real nervous. Sometimes people, feel right at home right off the gate. How was it for you?
I would say I was really nervous. And I think a lot of it had to do with there was a ton of COVID restrictions. So we were all online. We didn't get to meet new people. It was pretty much like you show up to campus, you go to the baseball field. You don't really get to hang out at the baseball field because they don't want people spreading COVID or getting sick or anything like that. So you didn't really get to know a bunch of the guys in the fall, except for the people that you were living with. And so I think that played into it. And then obviously, you're away from home for the first time and wanting to make the team, all that sort of thing, be a key role. So I would say I was a little nervous, but it helps when you've got great guys that kind of show you what it's like to play college ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel, you said you didn't think we had a guy. We actually do, because Jacob Gonzalez. And remember, and the thing about it was he came from California to Oxford, which is a major culture shock. And then he said he got there and there was nobody there. So actually there was somebody that we did have that. So yeah, at least you were still in Texas, right? He came from California to Mississippi and then nobody's there.
Yeah, that's completely different. Yeah.
So speaking
wait, before you get into that, I got one question though. You said that your top 3 was TCU, Stanford, and Northwestern, as in the Wildcats.
As in, yeah, Northwestern.
Was that because Chicago. Of academics, or you had some? It couldn't have been just baseball, Luke.
No, yeah, it wasn't. It was majority academics, and I mean, yeah, great school. And then I thought about pushing for maybe football and baseball at Northwestern. But by that time, I was sold on TCU by that time. So out of the picture.
Randy, you going to grill
Sorry.
everybody who had Northwestern in their list? Because this isn't the first time you've went on that rant.
I always want to understand because it's always like two schools on opposite ends and then Northwestern. And you know what Northwestern is most famous for is like every ESPN anchor graduated from Northwestern.
Yeah.
Famous for journalism. So that's where I was going.
Luke was going for his backup plan. If baseball didn't work out, he was going to work for ESPN.
He's got a face for TV, dog. I ain't mad at it.
So speaking of emotions, man, your first game's a part of TCU's at the College Baseball Showdown, Globe Life Field, 6 top 10 teams. I'm going to go ahead and do my usual rant anytime we have a guest that played there. I was supposed to be there. We had a major snow ice storm, which me and Randy might be fixing to get again tonight.
Deja vu.
And so I couldn't even get my car off the driveway to get there. Luckily, Globe Life is amazing and refunded me, believe it or not.
Y'all have fun with that.
Yeah, he's in Florida, so
What's the temperature in Tampa right now?
65.
It's a balmy 65. Daniel had to put on a pullover this morning.
I did. I ain't gonna lie. I put on a little light jacket.
And so, you go there and it's 6 top 10 teams to start the season in a major league ballpark, man. You're a freshman. Dude, what is that like?
I mean, if I said it wasn't overwhelming, I think I'd be lying. Just being there, first time in a college experience, and it's like also the teams that travel incredibly well, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Ole Miss. And so, I mean, they're probably having just as many fans as we are when it's 20 minutes down the road. And so just being there and like going out and you're seeing guys that are, sitting upper 90s and hitting it out of the ballpark in a major league stadium. It was definitely a cool experience, but just to be thrown in there, if it's like, it doesn't get much better than playing against the top competition in your first weekend as a college baseball player.
Absolutely. Well, cross your fingers. That's where I'm starting my season this year is the College Baseball Showdown. I'm coming to see you in Arkansas and all them. Let's not happen again. All right, man. If I miss it again because I get snowed in, so help me, man. It's time to get a helicopter.
Better be warm.
I got to get my own private helicopter. It's time to get rich. I have a fun question for you because I was in Omaha and obviously watched Mississippi State win. They were the only team from the SEC to lose, and y'all won that. So is there throughout the season, do y'all ever, or not throughout the season, but at the end of the season, do y'all have fun talking about how, y'all were the team that beat them?
We have talked about it. And so that's what Garrett was actually the one that came in and closed against them. And that's why that was his first game. He was the same grade as me. That was his first game, pretty much just getting thrown in there against Mississippi State. And he couldn't find the strike zone to save his life. I mean, the nerves were high. Threw like 5 balls in a row. And then we joked because he got out of it with a double play where the ball was probably 110 exit velo just right at our second baseman. But we have joked about it because it's like, wow, they go on to win the national championship. But we were the team that beat him in the opening weekend series.
Yeah, no doubt. And I do have a question for you because some teams do it, some teams don't. Did y'all stick around or get there early, depending on what time your game was, and watch the other teams play?
Not really to watch them play. I mean, we would get there really early, but kind of just to get ready for the game. And then obviously we're down there, so we would watch when we could see it, but it wasn't to scout or anything like that.
Gotcha. So, on the freshman season, you made 3 starts as a part of 7 appearances on the mound. Team was 5-2 in the games that you pitched, 3-0 in the games you started with a 3.32 ERA. So before we talk about the team as a whole, I want to talk about personal expectations. Most guys set them. For your freshman season, did you meet or exceed your expectations that you had for yourself?
I would say I probably met, just because my freshman year with COVID, we had a bunch of returning guys. And so I think we had like 8 guys that were like 24, 25 playing in their 5th or 6th year in college baseball. So my goal was really just to be able to contribute to the team in any way that I could. And they, like, when the start of the season, they pretty much told me, like, we don't know how many innings you're going to get. It might be redshirted. We don't really know. And so halfway through the year, they kind of just like threw me in. They were like, we know that you can get outs, and they threw me in to start. And then it kind of like took off from there. So I would say at the start of the year, I probably exceeded. And then when I started to pitch, I would say I met him.
Guys, something we've never really asked, I guess, we talk about the negative of COVID, but when you mention that those rosters, and we've talked to so many guys, do you think, college baseball is always amazing, but because of how many guys stuck around because there was only the 5-round draft, Do you think, like, when you talk about the talent around the nation, there was probably more talent in 2021 than there ever was?
Absolutely. I mean, when we walked in on campus, it was like these guys have been here. And it's not only like they had been here and they like semi contributed, it's like they had contributed for the past 3 years and they're about to get an extra year. And it was like that for my whole freshman year where we'd go and play guys. If it's like this guy probably could have been a very high draft pick, but he stayed just because of the draft and COVID. And so, I mean, it was awesome to be a part of, to be able to play against that type of competition.
I think
Absolutely.
that I'll go a step further than that. And I've said this before. I think that college baseball has never been stronger than the last couple of years because of COVID. It's ironic to say that. You lost a season, of course, for a lot of guys, but I don't think it's ever been bigger than it is right now. And part of that is, doing what we do, right? Getting you guys stories out. But the other thing is guys with more experience, guys getting to stay. We've interviewed so many guys that, like, we just had Luke Lipschitz on. He was 38 years old when he graduated, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? But that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Evan Russell, he was 36. I mean, you never had,
Oh, yeah.
like Jim said, the talent was so dense in college baseball. Guys that were literal pros are still playing in college. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you guys ultimately win the Big 12 tournament. I want to talk about that first. The Big 12 so stout. Obviously a lot of talk about the SEC, the ACC, but we know how good the Big 12 is, man. What is it like freshman year, being a part of a team that won the Big 12?
I mean, I think that experience, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I mean, it was so cool just to be a part of that and be in Oklahoma City. I think that tournament was like one of the best experiences that I've had in college baseball. And then just kind of seeing our team like come together when we needed to, because it was like we had a super regional host like up in the air, nobody really knew, and we knew we needed to win. And so just to see us get hot and then like be able to hang around the guys for the whole week, and then go out there and beat Oklahoma State when it's pretty much like an away game because it's in Oklahoma. I mean, it was so cool.
So y'all end up hosting the regional, in Fort Worth. Before we talk about outcomes of games and who you play, just talk to me about what the atmosphere is like in the postseason versus the regular season at home.
I think it completely changes just because the fans are just so much more involved. I mean, I can't say enough about how great TCU fans are in the regular season because they're some of the best in the country and I'd put them up against anybody. But just when the postseason comes around, it's like everyone in the stadium knows that it's a must win. And so if anything starts to go right, then the place erupts. And so just like be a part of that atmosphere is super cool.
Yeah, no doubt. And so I got to break the bad news to you. So your first loss came to DBU, and that would be Daniel's team. So there's that.
Oh, it is. Okay.
You can hate Daniel. And then
I thought he was a South Carolina fan.
I know, yeah, he's kind of, I don't know. He wants to root for South Carolina because he said he wants to have the SEC investment. He's not an actual South Carolina fan. He's trying to get in the mix because we're SEC guys, but he's a DBU guy. And then obviously y'all lost to Oregon State. And when I say those two teams and I think about that season, I think both of them would agree with me because we study college baseball so much. What did y'all do to deserve that draw? I mean, Luke, how do you get Oregon State and DBU in your region?
I don't know. I mean, I think we talk about this all the time. If we're like, we look back at the regionals and it's like, oh my gosh. I mean, Oregon State coming off of, crazy seasons with an amazing pitching staff, and they were the 3 seed in ours. And so it's just like, goodness gracious, what did we do to deserve? I don't know. I couldn't tell you what we did to deserve it. But yeah, those teams were stacked.
So ultimately y'all lose. What's coach's message, to end the season, going into next season? What's he say to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, that was a weird time for us just because there was a lot of rumors going around with Coach Schloss leaving. And so nobody really knew what was going to happen. And I mean, he tried to pull us together. He had great message on thanking all the seniors and everything that they had done for the program and just everything that they'd poured into us. But it was really just, keep your heads up. You all had a great year. It's amazing to win a conference championship in today's day and age and just to be able to would have been a super regional host site. And so, I mean, don't discount that. And obviously everyone was super disappointed. Nobody wanted the season to end that way. But I mean, yeah, he was really just trying to bring us together.
Yeah, and I mean, winning the Big 12, like you said, in the memory that you had of that, I mean, season's not lost. Obviously, the ultimate goal is to win it all, but silver lining is y'all were able to do that. Like you said, you were able to host. So, going into that sophomore season, you were ranked second on the team with 25 appearances on the mound, posted a 1-1 record to go along with 2 saves, 35 Ks on a 2.72 ERA, out of the bullpen. Following the same question kind of as freshman season right out the gate. As far as you're coming off that freshman season, you get a little bit of time in. You obviously get a lot of time in that sophomore season. How did you feel about meeting your expectations in that season?
Yeah, I feel like there were parts of the season where I met my expectations, where I pitched really well, and then there were other parts where I thought I could have pitched a lot better. And so I would say I probably underperformed in my eyes, but I mean, it was a great year, and I loved all the guys last year. Same story, it didn't end the way that we were hoping it would. But I mean, individually, I think that I could have pitched better in a lot of moments.
Well, instead of focusing on your negatives, let's talk about your positives. What was your favorite pitching moment of the season?
I think my favorite moment was probably coming in against Texas Tech, obviously with the family rivalry against Tech, and it was like a must-win series for us. They were number 4 at the time at home, so it's super loud, and came in, shut them down, got the save, and so I think that was super cool. And then I had like a bunch of family here because we were playing Tech, so that was awesome.
Bragging rights.
Who's your family rooting for? I mean, they're
so
rooting for you to do good.
My immediate family was TCU, but my like cousins and stuff, they had Tech gear on. I mean,
giving you the
for
business
me when I came in.
Look,
yeah, but
I question any family who won't change who their team is. It's no different than Luke. I'm telling you, look, my daughter got a letter from Alabama, and I'm a diehard LSU fan. And immediately my friends were like, "You cool with that?" I was like, "Dude, are you kidding me? If she can go to Alabama for soccer, yeah, let's put
absolutely
the Crimson. Like, what are we talking about here?"
Oh yeah.
So was that your? I mean, this seems like an easy question because my next question was going to be what was your favorite series? Is that still would that be your favorite series as well?
I would say that one, or maybe Oklahoma State, just because Oklahoma State's different because we went out Friday night and we just got absolutely destroyed. Didn't play well. Lost, I think, by like 9 runs. And then that was also a must-win series for us. And so kind of being able to like bounce back and then come back Saturday, Sunday, win those games was super cool. And the bus ride home is always enjoyable when you come out and beat a top 10 team on the road.
No doubt. So, obviously you're not hosting the regional this time. You're going to Texas A&M. We've had numerous guests, especially recently, because we've been talking SEC, say Bluebell Park is just insane, man. It's a cult. It's hostile. Tell me about it. Is it what they're saying it is?
Yeah, it is everything they say and more. And I feel like there was more hostility because, they had our old head coach and all the A&M TCU, rivalries from 2014, 2015. And so that place was loud and they like to chirp, and they are very unified when they chirp. I don't know where they like practice this, but they know what they're doing for sure.
The chirping, man. I mean, so we see some guys that chirp and they like it. It gets them going. How do you feel about the chirping?
I think there are definitely times where it gets you going, but then there are times where it's just kind of like you don't really notice that it's there. And so I think it kind of like varies. I think when you're doing well and they're chirping, then it almost like gives you that extra edge of like, man, I really want to do well. And then I think there's other times where it's just like it's just there, but you don't really know.
Yeah, so absolutely. You kind of talked about it. You guys come up a little bit short having to go on the road, but you got something to look forward to right after the season, being a part of the USA collegiate team. So just talk to us about that experience and what that meant to you personally.
Yeah, I mean, that was incredible. And what an honor to be able to go and to wear the red, white, and blue for USA. I mean, I feel like it's every kid's dream to be able to go out for Team USA and to be around literally the best guys in college baseball. And so I think that was one of the coolest experiences of my life, just to be able to spend a week with those guys, hanging out constantly with those guys at the field and carry, and just to be able to like see the talent out there, but then also to be able to know the guys, playing cards on the bus rides or whatever, pregame, just hanging out at night. I think that was some of the best experiences.
Yeah, I don't want you to have to like pick one, but if you could just talk about what's some of your favorite guys, some of the best memories. What are those names of guys that you didn't even know before that you kind of bonded with? Because you mentioned earlier playing with your best friends and what that meant to you. So did you have any of those kind of bonds with this team?
Yeah, and so I had River Riding, so he's been my best friend since high school, and he's at TCU, and then he was there, which was great. And then BT or Braden was there, which was awesome. And then, but my roommate was Wyatt Crowell, and I love that guy. He's awesome, Florida State, so I'll be able to see him this year when we play him here. And then Paul Skeens, awesome guy. And
Never heard of him.
Those two guys. Yeah, no, he's
No,
all right.
that's actually ironic you would say that coming. He was our last guest.
He was our very last guest.
Yeah, no, he's incredible, and so to be able to hang out with those guys was really cool.
All right, so for you, Luke, obviously, it's been proven academics is a strong thing for you, but you're always looking to learn something. What is one thing that you think you learned from that experience that you'll take with you into your career, into your life?
I mean, outside of baseball, I think just the relationships that we developed that time was incredible, and I think that's what we'll take for the rest of our lives. Being able to see the competition is great, and go up against the best guys in college baseball, see how your stuff stacks up, all that is awesome. But just to be able to develop relationships with these guys that hopefully will last a lifetime, I think that's what I'll take with me.
No, awesome. So obviously, you guys see it, right? When people put out these preseason top 25 polls, I mean, people say they don't read them, but you see it, right?
Yeah, no, I think everybody sees it, and if not, then I would.
They're probably lying.
I would be, yeah.
So In Off the Bench puts out our own, each individual, we kind of put out some different ones. All three of us have TCU ranked in our top 14 or better and a regional host. So Jim is actually going to be there representing our podcast for the College Baseball Showdown in Arlington. So we got to know, what does Jim need to be looking for from the Horned Frogs pitching staff, or what are some names to be looking for? And don't mention nothing about no hot dogs being a sandwich, bro, in Arlington. I know that wasn't where you were last time, but I don't want to hear.
Hold on, let me tell you something. Since you brought that up before he goes into it, they're playing in Minute Maid too. They're actually in the Shriners Classic also. So I might go watch them just so I can get my hot dog sandwich.
All right. What are some names he needs to be looking for, Luke?
Yeah, so for pitching wise, we have Cam Brown, who I live with. Ryan Vander is a transfer from Kansas. Garrett Wright, he's going to be a big time reliever. River Ridings will be a big time reliever.
No, we're not Garrett Wright fans until he drops off 21.
That's right. No, don't look for Garrett Wright until he changes his number.
I'm booing him, but as soon as I see him.
Luke, how big is the place that you live in? You got like 20 roommates.
I was about to ask. I live with this dude. That guy's my roommate. Y'all got a mansion, don't it?
It's just 4. So it's myself, River, Garrett, and Cam.
At TCU, I have a question because it's been different at different schools. Is a freshman, are you in a dorm with just one roommate, and then as you get an upperclassman, you end up with an apartment with like 4?
Yeah, dorm is required freshman year with 1, and then it's apartment, and then you can live off campus after sophomore year.
I gotcha.
So you kind of mentioned some of these arms. Obviously, we're going to be looking out for Luke Savage, of course. But with all of these hitters that you get to kind of face off against, what are some names in that lineup for us to be looking for that you think are going to make a lot of noise?
I mean, I think we have some of the best hitters in the country. Braden Taylor is incredible. Elijah Nunez, Trey Richardson. I mean, I think I could list probably everybody in our lineup, and I don't want to short anybody, but we got a bunch of transfers that are talented guys, and then a bunch of guys that have proven themselves in the past year. So I think we're super excited for this year.
Here's the fun question, Randy. Luke, who's giving you the most trouble you've pitched against in y'all scrimmages? Who's been getting a hold of you? Anybody?
I don't like pitching to Elijah. I just don't like it. He's got some of the best plate discipline I've ever seen. And so I can put a pitch exactly where I want it, and it can move the exact way I want it to, and he'll just spit on it like nobody's business.
Well, Luke,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, you ready to bring this thing home or what? Ready to wrap it up?
Whenever y'all are ready.
Hey, man, Randy, you got one last thing before we hop into this
no, man, y'all go ahead. No, I can't. I was just going to say, here comes the real judgment, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, boy.
So we're gonna play a game called This or That. It's a game, you're not special now. But we are gonna be judged like we judge every other athlete that comes on here because they play the same game.
All right.
But it's very simple, Luke, man. I'm gonna give you 2 options. You choose one option or the other. Can't say both, can't say neither. Just be decisive and just stick with the one that calls to you, man.
Gotcha.
All right. A little layup question to start us off. Pizza or tacos?
Tacos.
Ooh, Texas. That seems like a Texas answer.
I feel like you can't say pizza from Texas. There's too many good taco places in Texas.
Listen,
I don't
man,
know.
what's the best?
You did think about going to Northwestern now. So I mean,
You wanted some pizza.
Hey, Chicago pizza is
Oh, it's legit. What's the best taco place, like well-known taco place that we would know? Because I mean, everybody says Torchy's, but like I feel like that's commercialized. It's good.
Yeah, Torchy's is commercial. It is really good. Oh man, I mean,
If
there's
it-
too many places. I feel like the best taco places are probably the ones that aren't well known, where it's just like hole in the wall. You show up
That you
and
don't
it's
look
like,
at the
you
health
know,
department score. You know what I'm saying? Don't,
Well,
don't look
I'll-
around.
I tell you
if
what,
it doesn't have La or L in front of the name, it ain't that.
That's exactly.
no, that's the same way if you hit a gas station around here. But Randy, I'm gonna tell you something, man. I've had 2 visits to the Torchies here at our local Memphis area, and it ain't the same as the one in Baton Rouge. I don't know what they're doing wrong, bro.
I think that the Torchy's in Memphis is fire. I go
Then
there.
you
at
ain't
least,
been
like,
to the one in
man.
Baton Rouge. You'll change your mind.
Well,
Yeah.
you haven't been to the one in Texas because it is 10 times better than the one in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, y'all know they don't have a Torchy's in Tampa.
Oh, we do not feel bad for you. Enjoy your
Oh,
weather, bro.
You poor guy. It's 68 degrees and sunny today.
That's all right. You know, we got Los Chapos, so. All right, Luke. What's the better feeling? Striking someone out with a fastball or making them look foolish with an off speed?
Fastball.
Fastball. Blowing it by, bringing cheese, bringing heat.
No
There's
doubt.
nothing better than that than just, manning up and just blowing one by them and just going, what you think about that?
Oh yeah, there's not a better feeling than blowing a fastball by somebody.
Let me ask you this though. Have you ever just said, you know what? I'm throwing a fastball here. I don't care what my catcher puts down. I don't care. I'm shaking them off. I'm going fastball.
Yes, plenty of times.
So let me ask you, let me follow up to that. Has anyone ever made you pay?
Not too seriously. There have been a few where I shake fastball and I'm like, I'm just going to throw this as hard as I can, and it's a little too middle, and they get a hit. But nothing like there's been no extra base hits so far. So hopefully it stays that way.
Obviously, if you pitch long enough, people are going to hit some bombs on you. That's just part of it. Has anyone ever hit like a massive bomb or a big time bomb and they just decided they would flip their bat or throw it 30 feet in the air or spin around and do?
I feel like this is a dig at Randy right now in his Tennessee balls.
Do silly stuff, stare you down, or give you the middle finger.
I'm sorry you don't have Torchies, bro. Okay. Sorry.
I mean, what? He's kind of going wrong here.
Yeah, man.
Not off of me. I've seen it, but not off of me.
The last little piece to this long, complex question. That's not even this or that. I don't even know.
Yeah, you went off on a tangent, bro.
I'm just curious to know what if someone hypothetically did one of those acts.
Yep.
What would be your follow-up to that?
I mean, I feel like there's really not a follow-up to that, just because it's my fault for giving up the home run. And I mean, I think there's a line to where it's like, don't do just something ridiculously stupid. But if they bat flip, they earned it. Like I threw a
Daniel's
pitch, they hit
old
it
school. He'll
out of
air
the park,
hard.
so.
Luke, let me just get to
I'm
the
letting
I'm
them.
not
I'm
gonna
letting
do
them.
that.
I'm
I'm not
letting
gonna
them
do
know.
that.
let me just get to the real let me ask you the real question. If you are pitching, and this wouldn't happen to you, I don't think it would, but we're talking like in a regional, a guy hits a walk-off moonshot grand slam to win and then throws the bat. Like he blacks out. He don't know. If you're the pitcher, is that really what you're worried about? Or are you thinking like, dang, I just lost the game?
Damn.
Yeah, I think if you're focused on that after losing the game, you're probably thinking about the wrong thing. And I mean, if he did that, he earned the right to do that. So, good for him.
I actually don't think the ball or the bat have landed yet.
He brought that up because when we had Luke, when we had Drew Gilbert on here, Randy asked him, what he was thinking when he did that, and he actually said after he hit the ball, he blacked out. He didn't remember anything afterward.
I believe it. I fully believe it.
We've had pitchers say the same thing, right? Big strikeout. Like, what were you thinking? I was thinking nothing. I have no idea.
Yeah. No, there are times where I go and look
pitch.
back at the game and I'm like, I don't remember doing that at all.
Hey, man. you're a better person than me, Luke. I couldn't do it. And
Oh,
you're
petty.
right. You're right. I would be thinking about the wrong thing in that moment, but you ain't gonna bat flip on me, and I'm just gonna be okay with it.
But Daniel, if it's a walk off in the ninth, to Randy's point that he brought up one time, when you going to hit him with the ball? You going to hit him when he's rounding the bases? What's happening here exactly?
No.
You can't retaliate.
No, I mean, one, I would have to go wait for the ball to land.
Yeah.
DB, you're taking your ass back to your dugout and crying with your teammates. Okay, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
all
gonna
you
go.
can do at this point.
I'm gonna go sit down and go, hey, my bad. I feel like
Yeah,
that dude.
that's
I
on me.
feel
You
like
feel
the
like the
dude,
Bengals player last
yeah,
night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Randy, I've never seen this or that is supposed to be a faster portion. Daniel
Oh,
has
sorry.
made one question. No, Daniel has made one question go off like 10 minutes.
Hey,
You know, this is what happens when Daniel gets another pitcher on the podcast. He really
I'm
just
telling you.
gets in there.
Yeah. All right. Back to it. All right. So, Luke, you got Globe Life Field and you got Minute Maid Park on deck. Which one are you looking more forward to playing in?
I'm gonna go Globe Life. Opening weekend against top 10 teams. It's hard to beat that.
So how do you guys get the luxury? Is it just based on distance and it being close? But how do you guys get selected to be in both of those?
I honestly have no idea. I would assume it has to do with distance, and then I think it's just both have Big 12 teams in them. And so I don't know how that worked out, but I'm definitely not complaining about it.
I mean, I definitely think we talked about it before you came on. That gives y'all a chance to get really battle tested before you go into conference play.
Absolutely. And I think that's what we're excited about, is playing some of the best teams in college baseball before conference to see where we're at and where we can improve.
Yep. Can't beat it, especially if you guys are trying to win the Big 12, man. And from all indications, you guys are a hot pick. So, what would you rather attend, a bucket list concert or a bucket list sporting event?
I would probably have to go concert, honestly.
All right.
But in my defense, I did attend bucket list sporting events when TCU went to the CFP and the national championship. So I guess I kind of already checked the box.
Fair enough. All right.
That
So
was
Do you
cool.
regret? Hold on.
Yeah.
Do you regret your decision on your bucket list? I'm just curious.
Not at all. Not at all.
So concert. Who are you seeing in concert?
I mean,
If you say
man.
Flatland Cavalry,
No, I was not going to
we're
say
done.
Flatland.
I mean, this
Cavalry.
is your bucket
I would have
list,
to
Luke.
say-
So it's anybody, man.
I would have to say. So I've seen Need to Breathe, but I would have to say them. But it's at Red Rocks. It has to be at Red Rocks. I've always wanted to go to Red Rocks,
Same.
so it's got to be a specific venue.
Give me Morgan Wallen at Red Rocks, baby. Let's roll.
There you go.
Macho Man Luke Combs, savage, right here. Nah, man, Red Rocks is like, I don't know. It seems like it's like got this. Maybe it's been popular forever, but I just feel like over the past 5 or 6 years, it's turned into like this super popular venue to go see whatever. But hey, it's a pretty sweet setup.
He wanted to say
yeah.
Taylor Swift, but he didn't want to get busted out on this podcast.
What?
Yeah,
No,
I was going to
'cause
say
nobody
Justin
can
Bieber,
get
but I couldn't.
nobody can get tickets to Taylor Swift. So
Yeah.
good luck. Would you rather be attacked by a tiger or a grizzly bear?
I would have to go. I mean, I'm not surviving either, so I'm just going to have to go with a bear because it's my favorite animal. So might as well just be in awe, when it's going down.
I mean, who do you think would do more damage, tiger or bear? Like
I think
you're
the
able
bear,
to
probably.
fight back.
He,
Yeah.
he put
probably,
the best spin on
probably
it.
the bear.
But he put the best spin on it, Daniel. I mean, he went based upon the animal he liked better. So he's like, if I'm going to die anyway, just give me the one that I appreciate more.
Very true. I can handle that answer. Would you rather save a loved one or save 100 strangers? Would you rather be a hero to one or a hero to many?
I think a hero to many.
Finally, somebody's that guy.
Finally, a wrong
I
answer.
thought it was going to be
I
Paul.
know.
You know
Skeens.
what? This actually makes sense because his family's already shunned him for going to TCU.
Yeah.
So you're on your own. I'm saving the group.
I actually thought it was going to be
Yeah.
Paul, being that he had the military background. I thought, he's going to.
I'm
he's gonna save
surprised
100
Paul
people.
didn't say that.
No,
No, he was quick too. He's like, I'm gonna save. He was so serious, like deadpan. I'm gonna save my loved one.
Yep.
And I believed him.
We finally got a
I
hero.
believe it,
I'm
too.
promoting the mess out of Luke now. This man, he's between going over, doing the shoe thing, and now this. What are we talking about here?
All right, Luke, last question, man. Would you rather betray your best friend? Now we're talking about like no turning back betrayal. Or would you rather be jailed for a crime you didn't commit?
Definitely jailed for a crime he didn't commit.
Not a chance, man. Look, these two cats are my best friends, and I tell every person, because every person we've asked answers the same way, and I'll tell you the same way I told them. I would take that knife and I would stick it so far in their backs it wouldn't even be funny. Like, I ain't going to jail. You're crazy, just crazy.
I actually had to my
Maybe.
wife asked me this question. She said, like, what would you pick? And because I'm scared of my wife, I said I would go to jail for you right now. It's very instant. And
Exactly.
then when she walked away, I was
I-
like, hell no.
I'm just planning on like Shawshank Redemption, getting out. That's my plan.
With a spoon, just digging your way
Just
out.
dig-
Yeah, just getting out. That's the plan.
Daniel, you know what I just looked at, dude? I just looked at my schedule of all the stadiums and all the games I'm going to. I actually don't have anything March 3rd through 5th. I'm going to Minute Maid Park, and I'm going to eat a hot dog sandwich, and I'm going to watch Luke pitch.
Let's go.
Luke,
It's on.
if you were in the Tampa Bay area, I would come check you out for sure. But
I don't think. Yeah.
Don't y'all go to Florida State? It's close enough.
No,
6
we were
hours
there last
away.
year. They're here this year.
Ah, dang! I was trying to put them on. I was trying to put the pressure on. Don't
But
let
they
me.
do
don't
make
let me,
airplanes.
Yeah, they do.
That's
They
true.
do. You're very, very true.
I'm scrolling this schedule, Daniel. Don't let me find somewhere in Florida. I'm putting you on the spot.
I mean, look, let's just call it what it is, Luke. Make it to Omaha, and you got a very, very good chance.
Well, then I hope to see you there.
Yeah,
Of
absolutely.
seeing all three of us. Did we actually get you to do this commitment?
No, it's not.
No,
commitment.
no. He did. Who did he commit to?
He did. He did. I think it was Will Sanders.
It was Will Sanders.
It was Will
but
Sanders from South Carolina. Exactly.
Would you lie to a fellow pitcher, Daniel? Would you?
I would not. But here is the thing, Luke. I like you, man, and I borderline love you, and I just met you. But let me tell you this. You know who I love more? My wife.
Who?
And this
That's
May,
fair.
this May we're having another baby, and I guarantee you that summer is going to be rough. So getting out.
Congratulations, but
Thank you.
Randy, do you know I once left my 3-week-old son to go spend 4 days in Chicago with Daniel for his bachelor trip? I just want to put that out there. I'm dedicated, bro.
That is.
Jim,
That's dedication.
I'm gonna take you back to that question that said, "Would you rather betray your best friend or be jailed for a crime?" there you go, man. All right, Luke, man. Before you get out of here, dude, it's been a blast. Is there anything you want to plug or promote?
I mean, I just love to plug Blessed Feet. Check it out if anybody has time. And I mean, I appreciate y'all giving me the time and being on here. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a well set up
Absolutely.
website too, by the way, for anybody who checks it out.
What is the
Thank you.
site, and what can people do if they want to help out?
Yeah, so it's just blessedfeet.org, and we have donation buttons. So all the money that's donated goes right back into providing kids with the gear and equipment that they need.
All right, y'all. IOTB family, everybody out there on the socials, y'all better go on over to blessedfeet.org and hit the donate button. It's the holidays are over. You got a couple paychecks between now and then. I mean, you got some
Tax
time
returns
bef-
coming back. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, you got some time.
That's
before
right.
Valentine's Day. Now's the time. Now is the time. We're about to hit baseball season. Things are going to be in the mix. go do yourself a favor and go donate, man. Also,
Yes, sir.
there it is.
Donate.
Appreciate that.
Boom.
There it is. Right
On
there.
it, cuz.
There it is. We're going to put that out there for you. But also, if you want to know about Luke Savage, if you want to see what he's doing on just a random Tuesday, maybe it's Taco Tuesday. Who knows? Maybe it's Pizza Friday. I don't know. Go on over to Instagram at Luke Savage .13, the number 13. Or if you want to see him on the diamond and see what the Horned Frogs are up to this spring, going over to at TCU Baseball. Luke, man, it's been a pleasure. Great story. We enjoyed having you, man. Hopefully, and I'm not going to, maybe I'll speak it to existence. Big 12 champ, run to Omaha, bring you back. We'll talk about it. What do you think?
I love it. I hope to see you there.
Absolutely. Well, we wish you nothing but the best and the best of luck. And if there's anything you need from us, or if you need us to plug or promote anything along the way, reach out to us, man.
Absolutely. And I appreciate y'all having me on. It was a blast.
You got it. That's Luke Savage, everybody. If you like hearing Luke's story, or you just like hearing us average Joes talk X's and O's, please like and share the podcast on Facebook, retweet us on Twitter, listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. As always, comments, ratings, feedback, likes, thumbs up, hugs, love, all the good things. We'll take it all. But more than anything, stay away from Jim, because he's on one. And Garrett, just know you're a target. We're coming at you. Get ready to give up that 2-1, because it's coming for you. But no, we'll see everybody next week. We got episode 7. We're going to be back in Knoxville talking Tennessee baseball with Christian Scott. This has been the In Off the Bench podcast. As always, remember, strong body, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We're out.